So welcome everybody to Mindfit Mastery, provided to you by PXF. This is our very first episode here in the series, which is perception versus reality. So what this is designed to do is to talk to you guys a little bit about, some of the common myths in the fitness industry, right? And some of those, and basically debunking some of those. And I know, like, we can get very technical. We're not going to be like the very sciencey people, right? In the future, we will have, different people that'll come on, different hosts and things like that that'll come on that can kind of help you with some of those myths as it's related to their particular industry, or as it gets very particular about their field, right? So my field specifically is I'm a fitness trainer, and I'm also a coach. So I do both of those. In the past, I was an engineer, all those good things. So I try to make sure I pay attention to details and all that good stuff. But I'm currently full-time a coach and a trainer that runs the company PXF. PXF is Precision Execution Fitness. If you did not know, it's designed to be precise. So you come with PXF, believe me, you ain't going nowhere else. How about that? So I also got Bree on here, and she is our fitness instructor over at PXF. So, we'll be going back and forth and kind of helping you guys with some of the with any questions that may come up. But definitely just running down, through, our process and just kind of talking to you a little bit about the topic for the day. So underneath our of what we're doing today, talking about perception versus reality, we want to talk specifically about weight loss today in that category, right? So if you can see my screen, I've got it pulled up right here, pros and cons, right, of weight loss. So first of all, let's break down a little bit about, what weight loss actually is, right? So you hear people saying, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to do recomposition, I want to do this toning, I want to do all these different things, a lot of different terminologies that we utilize, right? But specifically, the term weight loss is going to be associated with weight, right? Overall weight. So that doesn't matter if it's fat, that doesn't matter if it's water, it doesn't matter if it's muscle, it doesn't matter if it's brain tissue, it don't matter if it's skin, it don't matter what it is, right? Toenail, eyelid, it don't matter, right? It's all weight loss. So when we get into weight loss in general, what we're talking about doing is, most people, when they're referring to weight loss, a lot of them start talking about toning and things of that nature. But no, it's not. It has nothing to do with toning. Toning specifically is going to be a combination of weight loss versus building muscle. Weight loss in itself, on its own, is just purely losing weight, right? So let's look at the pros and the cons of weight loss, right? So definitely a pro of weight loss is going to be some instant gratification, right? Because so often you hear people, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose 50 pounds, I want to lose 60 pounds, right? So, typically what they end up doing is they eat very little, right? And then they do a lot of cardio. That's usually what it looks like to promote weight loss. Weight loss simply looks that way because it is about being in a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight because you're not going to break the laws of thermodynamics. That's just the way that it is. Energy in, energy out, right? If you put in more energy than your body expels, right, then obviously you gain weight. If you put less energy in than what your body will burn in energy, then you'll lose weight. Simple, right? So most people go on their weight loss journeys and are looking for the instant gratification. And yes, it's a pro, because when you lose weight quick, it does give you some motivation, right? So it's a big confidence booster, right? So a confidence booster is good, right? And there's nothing wrong with a confidence booster, especially when you're in your weight loss journey, because it does give you the drive to continue. However, but how long does it give you that drive to continue, right? That's going to be the biggest question. Physical appearance. So yeah, there's going to be some changes to your body, right? Most of the time when we lose weight, there is this appearance of being leaner, right? And leaner specifically is, again, it's a combination of muscle being built plus weight overall, like weight being lost or fat being lost, right? But in this particular situation, it can be a little bit obscure because you do see your physical appearance changing, but you're getting smaller overall, right? So when you lose weight, you're going to get smaller. In some sense, people start to see muscles and they think, oh, well, I built some muscle. Nah, not necessarily, right? That's a totally different dynamic. Doesn't mean that you built muscle because you can start to see your muscle. What you did was you actually revealed the muscle by losing the fat or the water or whatever it may be that's over the muscle, right? And then there's also going to be some health benefits because, I mean, a part of it too is like, health benefits. You're inherently going to be um, healthier just by losing weight, right? Because obviously, as you start losing weight, you get better insulin sensitivity, things of that nature, right? I mean, obviously, your cholesterol and stuff like that may improve. Just simply, it's just getting healthier because your body doesn't need all of that extra weight, right? And as you start losing that weight quite naturally, there is some inherent benefits to being healthy. Does not mean you're going to be holistically healthy, right? It just means that those numbers may improve, right? Because as you get too heavy, yes, those things start to get out of whack because your body's really not designed, right, to have so much fat on it. It needs enough fat so that it can survive. But obviously, if you start to do those things, inherently you're going to get healthy. And I think also that's got a lot to do too with the food choices you make, right? Because most of the time when you go into weight loss, most people instantly they jump right into eating healthier. So then again, there's going to be some health benefits from that also, right? So just looking at those pros, there's a lot of pros, to weight loss, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's also some cons, right? So the cons of it, you got to think about the trade-off, right? The trade-off of it all. So the cons is low sustainability most of the time because mass majority of the time people they go through weight loss phases, but what they're doing in the weight loss phase is they're putting themselves through a crash, right? So they're crash coursing themselves. It's high cardio, right? So it's like a lot of cardio and not specifically designed for a certain phase and trying to phase in and out of doing the cardio for just the weight loss, but it's specifically what they do to lose weight. They don't use it as a tool as it should be used. More so, it's just something that they use specifically to just lose the weight in general. So what I mean is they're not properly using it and giving a particular dose of cardio that's needed to lose weight, rather than they just go above and beyond a lot of times from the start and go from 0 to 100. And cardio is to be honest with you, it's just used out of whack for losing weight. So it's still high cardio, right? Uh, and most of the time that's not going to be sustainable. People think they can do it. Most of the time they don't. I mean, 99% of people I've run across cannot sustain high cardio. It is what it is. We're talking about hours and hours and hours, right? Low calories. Again, that's another thing that's very, very like not sustainable, very low sustainability because the low calorie intake, let's think about this, guys, like calories is energy, right? They're energy for your body. So low calories, low energy, definitely low sustainability, right? Because what happens is once you start getting low calories, your body will adapt to the low calories, right? Which means eventually you're probably going to start holding on to some fat. But think about society today, right? And that's me. I'm practical. Think about society today, right? And the foods and stuff that we have available. Eating very, very low calorie is not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's not going to be something you can stick to, especially when you see, your lean guy eating donuts, right? And then you're afraid to eat a donut because the moment you eat a donut, the weight all comes back on, right? So low calories is definitely not a sustainable thing, especially in our society, right? I mean, we got fried Oreos, we got fried ice cream, we got everything fried today that, some of those things, as long as you have good relationships with, you should be able to enjoy it. But most people, right, they indulge in it a little bit too much. But when they get ready to go into their crash, they go very low calorie and then they end up binge eating. So that is part of why low calories is very, very like unsustainable. So the lack of discipline, right? Very, very low sustainability also, right? Because here's the thing. When you're working out, you're eating these low calories, all these different things, high cardio, when you put everything together, what matters the most is, can you be disciplined to stick to these different tasks that's associated with the phase that you're in, right? So if you get into a particular situation where, your cardio is high, your calories are low, how disciplined do you think you'll be? So if cardio is high, calories are low, and you start to lose weight, can you maintain that? Is the question, right? So that's where discipline comes in versus motivation. This is where discipline comes in, because you can have the worst diet in the world, you can have the worst workout plan in the world, and I guarantee you, in some way, it will work if you have discipline toward it, right? It will work, but most of the time, people don't have the discipline to stick to those plans. In this particular situation, in weight loss, most people don't have the discipline to stick to it because things are very, very tough in the process, right? So that is going to be the pros and the cons of weight loss. And I'm sure there's others. I'm pretty sure there's others, but I want to highlight a few things because in weight loss, so often we confuse that with what we're really wanting to get. And this is where we start to get into like that modality of like perception versus reality, right? So often people come up and they want to do weight loss, but what they're looking for is recomposition. Now, hear me down, check me out. What they ask for is weight loss, but what they want is recomposition. So what do I mean by recomposition? Because that same person that comes up to you and say, hey, I want to lose 60 pounds, but I want to look like this. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if you lose 60 pounds, you probably won't look like that, right? So everybody's associating weight loss with a number. Recomposition is not associating with a number. Is pretty much associated with a look, right? And what you're trying to achieve. So recomposition means that you're taking your time and you're building muscle while simultaneously losing fat. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, you're going to be, in a huge weight loss or have a huge weight loss process. So it all depends, but that is what most people are doing. And that's what gets me sometimes, because you're moving in the wrong direction. And if you're trainers or instructors or anything like that, like you guys, I'm sure you've heard that before, where the person comes up and they tell you, hey, I want to lose X amount of weight, but they want to look a certain way, right? And then you're looking like, whoa, wait, those are two totally different things. You want to lose 60 pounds, but you want to look like this goddess, right? Well, this goddess has got a bunch of muscle, and I guarantee you, when you lose that amount of weight, you will not look like that, right? So that is why we want to make sure that we're like separating these things, right? Because that in itself is the myth, is that you believe that you can recomposition just by losing weight, but that's not necessarily true. Just losing weight does not mean recomposition, and vice versa, right? So let me see if I can pull up the other whiteboard where we can talk about recomposition. All right. Just a moment here while it's pulling up. So here we go. So pros and cons of recomposition. Now I'm probably going to be a little bit biased, but I'm going to try to make sure that I'm not too biased. But again, I mean, I love recomposition because that's what I'm in. I'm into bodybuilding, and I like recomposition because I like building muscle and I like losing fat. And then we go through a fat loss phase. That is typically how I work, right? So I may be a little bit biased, but we're gonna try to keep it where I'm not so biased here, right? So let's think about it, right? So the pros of body recomposition is it's long-term sustainable, right? What makes it sustainable? Because the fact of the matter is you're not moving so fast and making so drastic of changes that you can actually stick to the process. So yes, right? It's going to be some tough things throughout the process as you get into some of the cons. But the thing is, you can still lose weight, right? So you can still lose some weight in body recomposition. Like you're gonna lose some fat. That's a part of weight, right? But you're looking at putting on muscle also. So yes, you inherently, because you may lose some weight, right? You inherently still you're eating better, so you're going to get health benefits, same as what we talked about before. Also, because you're doing that, you're going to have some confidence boosters also. So those are pretty much the same, right? But then when we start really digging into what makes it so sustainable is because, for one, right, you're also going to be gaining muscle and strength. So if you're gaining muscle and strength, then there's a good chance that you're putting on muscle, which means there's a good chance that you're improving your metabolism, because we say muscle is heavier than fat. But the thing is, muscle requires more energy expenditure than fat does because it's heavy, right? So you improve your metabolism, which means you can eat more, which means you can consume more energy, calories, right? And you don't have to starve. That makes the dieting process easier, since we all love the word diet, like we on and off diet. It makes the diet process easier because you don't have to be eating so low calorie. The other thing is optimal for toning and sculpting. And so when I say toning and sculpting, hey, not losing weight. It's not optimal for losing weight. It is optimal for toning and sculpting because it's gaining muscle. That is the part of toning that makes it optimal, because you're putting muscle on. The muscle requires energy, requires calories, right? So that is what's going to give the body the necessary tools that it needs to build the muscle. Now, the cons of it. And I can understand this, right? Because, for some people, in today's society, everybody is like super, right? Like hung up on everything being quick. I mean, literally, the internet don't move fast. We throwing the phone, bam, right? We yelling at the person because they didn't bring a hamburger out fast, right? The person who's making the hamburger is making it too slow, right? When you can really, you go make your own hamburger, it's probably going to take you about 30, well, actually probably about an hour by the time you go to the store and come back and prep it, put it on, cook it, and eat it. Chances are, it's probably taking you out, right? But you go up there to the store and it takes 5 minutes and everybody's pissed, right? Because they need it in 2 minutes. So the expectations now is that everything is faster. We want everything faster. But in body recomposition is different because there's delayed gratification, right? There's delayed gratification. There is some gratification that you may get instantly just by feeling better, but based off of the things that we want in today's society, right? That's where the delayed gratification comes in. And that's what makes it a con, because it takes longer to achieve, what you're trying to achieve when it comes to like weight loss, right? Because most of the time when people are looking at the weight loss side of things, it takes longer to achieve it because your weight is not actually the one that's moving much, right? So that gratification of seeing the scale go down bothers a lot of people because they hang their hats on the scale a lot. And then also being able to see the muscle, obviously you still have fat, right? So like it may be a little bit difficult to see the muscle in the body changing, but there's other ways to measure that, right? But it's difficult to measure it because when you look at yourself, you're like, well, I didn't lose any weight, the scale is not down, all these different things, right? And you're measuring it off things that are really in body recomposition is not necessary to measure them off of, or are going to be very, very difficult and give you an obscure look of what it should be. So you looking at the scale go down doesn't necessarily mean you're recompositioning, right? Just because you can see, you say, okay, well, my body's getting a certain way or becoming a certain way. Those are the kind of things that you're going to be looking at. You can see things in the mirror, but it doesn't necessarily mean the scale is going down. But it may take time to see things in the mirror. So, even the most highly genetic people, like genetic, freaks, right? They're making leaps and bounds, but we're talking about, 6 months, right? And so, people are getting discouraged because they can't see things in 3 months. So at the end of the day, that's very, very tough for most people. It's very, very tough to measure, which makes things very, very tough to, to be able to stick to body recomposition because it's a delayed gratification. And then also the other part is looking at going the other way. And this is where, I get this mostly out of women than I do men. But and I don't think it's just totally just, specifically just women only, but the amount of people I work with is just mainly women that, are a little bit disturbed by it. But there's going to be some temporary weight gain, right? I mean, it will, because, we get lean and we expect to stay lean, and that's not optimal for putting on muscle. Not saying that you can't put on muscle, but it's not necessarily optimal for putting on muscle. And because it's not, when you start eating a little bit more in order to improve your metabolism, there's going to be some temporary weight gain, right? So you got to look at how you can keep the weight gain at bay, but that all goes back to the discipline piece. And that's going to be one of the pros of body recomposition, because of all of the dieting and the lower cardio and all of these different things that's associated with it, it makes it easier to stick to in that fashion, as long as you can continue to deal with the delayed gratification, right? So why are we talking about this and the disparity between these two, right? Because again, the perception that people are given, I'm going to use the words this time, the perception that people have is that when they go through a weight loss phase, that they are recompositioning the body. And that is not true. Not true at all, right? So when you start body recompositioning, you may see weight loss, but just because you're losing weight does not mean that you're recompositioning your body, right? So the thing is, and I say I'm biased, and this is a discussion, right? I mean, I say I'm biased about it. I am, because I really, really enjoy body recomposition, because in that particular sense, there's ways to measure your body recomposition. How should you do that? I mean, you can go and get on a, body fat scale and all that particular stuff. But, for me, I started looking at, okay, well, for one, am I feeling better? Which means like, okay, how particularly do I feel, right? Am I, bloated all the time, or am I not? Is my diet good? Am I feeling good? Is my libido up? All of those different things making my body feel good is what I like, because usually when you're in a weight loss phase, your hormones and stuff are low. It's very, very tough, right? When you're in a weight loss phase, because you just don't always feel good. You may have a point where you feel good, but mass majority of the time when you talk to people, that they're miserable in that weight loss phase. But if you go through a proper body recomposition phase, it's like, as you get your hormones up, you're focusing on being as healthy as you can. And then as you start being more disciplined and you start dialing in on things like your nutrition and your activity and things of that nature, it's more of a lifestyle. And that fact, it's all supposed to be a part of your lifestyle, but it more follows a successful lifestyle when it comes to fitness, right? Because when I say successful, I mean something you can stick to for forever, right? Because it's temporary weight gain. You're not going to gain weight forever, right? Because if you're doing that, then obviously you are recompositioning your body just in the wrong way, right? So you got to start looking at how to recomposition your body in the right way, which is what we like to do, which is the toning piece, which is where we say, oh, we want to like build this muscle and lose this fat. But it's going to be more sustainable because your calories up, my calories up, I'm eating, I feel good. I don't feel like I have to like dissociate myself from friends and family, and I can't do anything because, I'm eating very, very little food. I smell a piece of pizza and I go into shock. You know what I mean? Like that's type of stuff that, in today's society, you don't want to be, you don't want to be in a situation like that, right? Somebody got a dang on drop down and give you CPR because you ate a piece of donut and had a heart attack just because, pure guilt, right? But like that's not the stuff we want to go through. So like, I enjoy being in body recomposition just simply because I can see my body changing over time. Yes, it takes time. It takes time. I was talking to somebody today and I was telling them like, hey, listen, in reality, what's going to happen is when I get ready to get lean again, there's going to be some people that's going to ask a lot of questions, right? But in reality, they would have missed the fact that as of right now, I've been in recomposition now for 10 months. And by the time I get ready to get back on stage again, it would have been a year and a half. and they're going to completely miss the year and a half, completely skip the year and a half. And they're going to skip over to those last 3 months where they see me getting very, very lean. But oh man, how did you do this and how did you do that? And what supplements are you taking? All these different things. But it's like, no, you missed the whole year and a half where I stayed 230 pounds and I was lifting my tail off, right? And I was eating, my nutrition was slowly being dialed in, right? Like dialed. I'm getting to the point where, I'm eating the proper foods, got my body feeling the right way. I'm not being bloated. My hormones up, my libido's up. Everything feels good. My body is in perfect harmony. And that is where I want to spend mass majority of the time. That is where it's built. That is where you're going to get the mass majority of all your gains. That's where you're going to get the mass majority of everything that you're looking for when it comes to fitness, right? Not just the muscle piece, but the sustainability piece, the lifestyle piece, right? Because the lifestyle piece is just as big as all the other pieces. In fact, it's bigger. In my weight loss journey, I know some of you guys probably know, I was 360 pounds and then I went down to 180 pounds. And I know that because I've walked those shoes, man. I've walked those shoes, and the single biggest thing that helped me the most was lifestyle. It wasn't activity. It wasn't nutrition. It was lifestyle. That was the single biggest thing that helped me, because literally how I utilized activity and nutrition, they fit into my lifestyle. That's what made it easy, right? Because, for instance, for 6 years, every day I've got up and walked at least 1 hour, at least 1 hour. It don't matter what I'm doing. I could be working, I could be texting, I could be doing whatever I'm doing. Most of the time I'm working, right? Use it however you want to use it. Most of the time I'm working, or I'm using that time to reflect on the day, or I'm using that time to talk to my God. I'm using all those different things, right? Or the God, my God, but yes, God, right? I'm using it to do those things, right? And so every morning when I do that, it's now a part of my life. So I don't ever skip it. So, right out the gate, I got 6,000 steps regardless. And what do we say? For 8,000 steps is like a normally active person. So I've got almost a normally active person amount of steps in the first hour of the day at 4 o'clock in the morning. You get what I mean? So that is how you build something in lifestyle, and not telling you to do the same thing. What I'm saying is find out where you can do it, right? Because if you can find out where you can do things like that, start putting in your nutrition, start putting in your activity, and start to fit it into your lifestyle, then you can start working into the right areas of body recomposition, right? And you can make things long-term sustainable. So now, like I say, this is the part where I start to be biased about the recomposition part, and it's that way because I enjoy that journey, right? So I've already got you guys to see the portion of the misconception. The misconception is simply that, right? That you can't confuse body recomposition and weight loss, right? But now I'm gonna veer away from weight loss because I want you to understand that body recomposition to me is the better way to go for long-term sustainability. And now weight loss in general, not steering you away from that, but I think that particularly should be a phase that you go through, and it should complement body recomposition, but it shouldn't take over and it shouldn't replace body recomposition, right? So often when we're looking at these things in body recomposition, people confuse the pros and the cons in a lot of them. Oh, I'm recompositioning, but then I see somebody over there on a treadmill doing 2 or 3 hours. I'm like, man, you're not body recompositioning like that. It's not body recomposition. What are you doing? Like, you getting ready for a show? Let's get down to it. Like you see these people that are doing bodybuilding shows and things like that. Like, they're recompositioning in the beginning. Before you get on stage, there is no body recomposition. It's weight loss. It's as much weight how much can you lose, and how much fat how much muscle can you keep? In reality, you're going to lose muscle too. You're going to lose both. But that's why you still work out, because you want to maintain the muscle. But you're still going to lose some. That's why it's so important to go through a bodybuilding phase. So that also is something that people confuse a lot. They confuse the cons. It's because they're moving in the wrong direction, and I got to get you to move in the right direction. The fastest way to get somewhere is from point A to point B, not going in the circles, right? I was telling somebody the other day, it's like, think about it. So you're on the freeway and you're driving. And one guy got a Lamborghini and one guy got a Ford Focus, right? That's me. The one in the Ford Focus, I'm driving slow. I'm going 50, 60 miles per hour. You fly past me in the Lamborghini. We both supposed to be making exit 64, right? And then you go and you pass me 3, 4 times. Bam, bam, bam. You done pass exit 64 3 or 4 times too. And then I come on in my little Ford Focus and I exit 64 and I've been waiting on you for an hour. I'm like, man, where you been? Well, hell, you be like, man, I passed you 3 times. Yeah, but I've been here for an hour. The goal was to get here. Well, that's because you passed the exit 3 or 4 times. And guess what? When you passed that exit, you had to come all the way back around and pass exit 72, 71, 60, all the way till you get to 64, right? So that's the thing is most of the time, the fastest way somewhere is efficiency. And sometimes you just got to slow down. You got to slow down and you have to be efficient, right? Which means make things sustainable, go from point A to point B, right? Don't go in a circle, go from point A to point B. And what that looks like is body recomposition, mass majority of the time for most of your life, right? The weight loss, that's what weight loss looks like. You know, if you're always hanging your hat on weight loss, that is how it's going to look to get your results. You're going to be running in a circle. You're going to be the one that's passing exit 64 300 times, right? Because it's like, okay, it's like, well, damn, I done lost all this weight, but I didn't do it the right way. So I got to go back past exit 72, 71, 70. You know what that means, right? That meant your weight went all the way back up. You didn't gain, you lost 30 pounds. You went all the way back up to 50 pounds. And then you got to go back down to 48, 40. You know, you got to go all the way back down so you can lose all the weight again, right? Well, that's the problem because you reset yourself. You kept resetting yourself, right? So let's stop thinking that these are the same because they're not the same. If you use them in the modality that they're supposed to be using, the attention that they're supposed to be using, you'll get what you need to get out of it, right? Use the weight loss as a phase, but body recomposition should be longevity. It should be something that you're looking for a lifestyle. Weight loss, you shouldn't be wanting to lose weight forever. If we lose weight forever, you're going to just kill yourself anyway. It don't matter because how much weight bone and muscle, bone and organs are also weight, right? So if you just lose weight forever, then guess what? And you're probably gonna die just losing weight forever, right? If you gain weight forever, it's gonna be the same. Body recomposition is not that anyway. Body recomposition is literally changing your physique. It's molding and sculpting your physique. Think about clay, right? Like clay, when you're molding clay, that is what body recomposition looks like, right? And then underneath that a specific modality or phase is then what you go in when you start going into a weight loss phase, y'all. So, you know, hopefully you guys understand the difference now between body recomposition and weight loss. Get that misconception out your head that they're the same because they aren't. So when you start asking people about what it is you truly, truly want, be specific, but also to yourself, know what you are looking for. It's okay if you want a weight loss phase, but don't look to be body recomposition. Don't look to be toning and sculpting and being lean and doing all the things that require you to build muscle if you're focused on losing weight, right? And then vice versa. Don't mix those two up, right? So think about which one you really want. Me, you know, I'm a proponent, really, honestly, of body recomposition for most part of your life to fit in your lifestyle, but I'm also a proponent of weight loss when the phase is required, right? So let's stop mixing those two up. I hope you guys really enjoyed it and that it made sense this time on what the differences are. And if you guys have anything particular that you want to talk about, that you want to discuss, like I said, I'm going to be having people on here and kind of debunking some myths also as we go. And like I say, I'm a trainer and I'm a coach, but at the end of the day, I'm more practical. There are going to be some people that's going to be more sciencey for you guys. That's not me. That's not what I do. But I will bring those people on so they can kind of help you guys as we move forward. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to the Mindfit Mastery episode 1 of our series, Perception versus Reality. All right, y'all. We out.